This is Bubble News Weekly for the week of May 2nd, 3309. Good evening, Commanders. I'm Apollo Celeris, and this is the inaugural broadcast of Bubble News Weekly, the voice of the free bubble, broadcast from the Sargus Beacon in the Alioth system. This week, the FIA clears the Empire of all suspicion in the case of a Martian assassin. The Empire orders a ceasefire in the Pichchian system. We give you much-needed updates on the Thargoid war, and Zachary Rackham starts to look like he has a chance. All this tonight on Bubble News Weekly. Our top story tonight. The FIA has taken the Empire off the suspect board in the murder of Cain Massey CEO Johann Fleischer. In a press conference last Tuesday, FIA executive agent Viola Trask revealed the assassin's identity to be that of Kieran Rain, a native of the Alpha Kali system who has operated as a hitman for hire using multiple false identities for over a decade. Despite early reports from both independent media and federal authorities, the FIA has revealed their stunning lack of evidence to support Rain's connection to any Imperial agents. Instead, he received his orders from an anonymous source through an unregistered and, as of the time of this broadcast, inaccessible communications network, and the Imperial weaponry and security equipment were provided to him seemingly in an effort to frame the Empire. Trask admitted that the FIA was aware the evidence may be too good to be true, and expressed disappointment that Cain Massey deployed both security forces and independent contractors to the Tavki system before the investigation was complete. The FIA has continued to question Rain, and insiders within the federal legal system believe he will be sentenced to life imprisonment within a maximum security penitentiary. Philippa Barlow-Lyons, the new CEO of Cain Massey, gave an address to her employees, vowing to follow in the late Fleischer's footsteps and running things exactly as he would have wanted. She also gave a formal apology to Senator Zemina Torval and her family, who Barlow-Lyons had publicly condemned for the murder of her predecessor. She expressed hope that the true culprit would be brought to justice. Senator Torval could not be reached for comment in time for broadcast. Bittersweet news out of the Pichchian system. Following a declaration of war between the Galese 44 Citizens Forum and the Galuja Exchange, each organization requested Imperial and Federal pilots respectively to aid them in the fight. On Thursday afternoon, Imperial-aligned pilots destroyed a Federal supply convoy carrying large numbers of weapons. Unfortunately, what these Imperial hotshots failed to realize was that this convoy was actually a fleet of anti-Xeno supply ships, and the weapons they were delivering were destined for the front line of the Thargoid war, carrying large scores of anti-Xeno weaponry to help aid AX pilots in their fight against the insectoid menace. As news spread of the destruction, the leaders of the Galuja Exchange and the Galese 44 Citizens Forum both announced they had received orders direct from the leadership of their respective nations to end the war as soon as possible. The Emperor herself, Arissa Lavinia Duval, made her own declaration about the conflict, reiterating the Empire's allowance of autonomy for factions aligned with the Empire, but that undermining human resistance to the Thargoids is a clear jeopardization of the Empire's strategic goals and will not be tolerated. Outgoing President Zachary Hudson made a similar statement, calling the whole affair a tragic situation that could have been avoided, and that the Federation has a responsibility to ensure the continual flow of anti-Xeno resources. Political insiders within the Pichchian system have gone on the record stating that this forced ceasefire comes as welcome relief to the Galuja Exchange, as preliminary reports had shown Pichchian would likely have fallen into Imperial hands had the war continued. Both factions have vowed to honor their contracts with pilots who signed up to fight for them, with pilot awards available at Tiptree Port. For happier news, we turn to Aegis, who have announced their probe had succeeded in piercing the heart of a Thargoid Maelstrom. Professor Alba Tesreau made a statement on Thursday, explaining the test and its results. A probe, specially designed to house the pulse neutralizer, was launched into Maelstrom Tyrannus, located within the Hyades sector FB-N B7-6 system, and sent hurtling into the Maelstrom center. According to Tesreau, while the Maelstrom did generate the expected electromagnetic pulse which should have sent the probe flying away, the neutralizer worked entirely as expected, allowing the probe to enter the center of the Maelstrom. Unfortunately, the probe was destroyed shortly after reaching the center of the Maelstrom, with no way at present to verify who or what destroyed it. Former Federal Admiral Aiden Tanner, now working for Aegis as a freelance tactical advisor, provided a secondary report, revealing his team had been experimenting with the module aboard a manned combat vessel. According to Tanner, the module functions just like a shutdown field neutralizer while in combat, but it possesses both increased weight and power draw, making it best suited for Maelstrom exploration, as opposed to general AX activities. Aegis has confirmed its intent to establish a production schedule for the Pulse Neutralizer, so as to get it into the hands of Pilots Federation members as soon as possible, and will provide updates within a few days. Early reports vary on exactly how the Pulse Neutralizer will be manufactured, marketed, and sold to anti-Xeno commanders, but it seems likely Aegis will attempt to keep the bar to entry as low as possible, and we may see these modules on the market as early as May 9th, 3309. On Friday, Vox Galactica journalist Jade Sanderlin gave a report on the Thargoid War, revealing some immensely disappointing numbers. The war's casualties already number in the millions. Unimaginable numbers of refugees have been forced to flee their home systems, and as many as 10 billion people may have been directly affected by the war, as the Thargoids have taken over 1,000 systems for their own, 200 of which were once populated. Nonetheless, not all is lost. The Thargoid advance has slowed drastically in the wake of AX activities, and with Aegis' recent innovations, we may very well see the fight taken to the Thargoids in the very near future. And for some rather confusing and worrisome news in our federal election coverage this year, independent presidential candidate, nascent trillionaire and alleged pirate Zachary Rackham, running on a low-tax, high-spending platform promising that everyone can be rich just like him, made headlines this past Monday when he held a massive gala ball for the federal elite. Held in the settlement of Fort Rackham, formerly Fort Falconwrath, on the Earth-like world of Taylor Colony in the Tau Ceti system, the ball appeared at first glance to be your average party for the obscenely wealthy, but it became clear that it was much more of a political fundraiser than anything else. Despite being one of the wealthiest individuals in the Federation, Rackham is forbidden by federal law to use his own wealth in his campaign, so he's been forced to rely on donations to keep his political dream alive. Rackham's campaign manager, famed celebrity PR consultant Anya Blackriver, organized the gala and secured invitations from a number of the Federation's most notable citizens, from media moguls to eccentric tycoons. Though we at BNR would like to state on the record that no members of our staff were invited despite our request. Most notable was Congressman Harlan Turk, the highly respected Republican representative of the Duamta system. He announced at the gala that he had resigned from the Republican Party in order to run as Zachary Rackham's vice president. 4 other congressmen, all independents, announced they too were joining Mr. Rackham's campaign, elevating it from trillionaire vanity project to legitimate political enterprise. BNR would like to remind our audience that Zachary Rackham's platform is, to put it bluntly, absolutely insane, and will likely see the Federation go completely and utterly bankrupt within just a few months. Still, at least he's better than Jerome Archer. And that's our show for this week. I'm Apollo Celeris, and this has been Bubble News Weekly, the voice of the free bubble. Don't forget to subscribe to see new broadcasts as soon as they go live, and to click the link in our broadcast description to join our private communication server for more information. Thank you for listening, Commanders, and fly safe. Hey, this is Avery, the actual host of Bubble News Radio, along with writer, producer, editor, etc., etc. I just want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. I'm really happy with where things are at, and I'm hoping the new weekly format helps make things work a bit more smoothly. I'm really astonished with the response I got when I started this channel, including shoutouts from not just fellow YouTubers like the folks over at Galnet News Digest, Commander Wotherspoon and Commander Beetlejude, but also from Frontier themselves. That was kinda insane to me. I do have plans to do other Elite Dangerous content, some in-character, some out-of-character, as well as some non-Elite Dangerous content, though the latter will likely go on another channel so the algorithm gods don't smite me. I do want to do something once we hit 100 subscribers, maybe an in-character Q&A. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. In the meantime, I need to focus on getting an elite status so I can buy some ships that'll be better suited for filming Thargoid activity, and getting a few ranks into the Federation so I can actually film stuff in Seoul. I hope to see y'all then, Commanders. Fly safe, and thanks so very much for watching.